Good afternoon, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. This is going to be an introductory video for the new project I was talking about for the channel. This is going to be the replacement van for the van that got totaled. Without further ado, let's dig into it. Okay, guys, lo and behold, this is a 1997 Ford E-150 with a Starcraft conversion. 65,000 original miles. She's a beauty. So if you're not familiar with conversion vans, they were a thing 70s, 80s, 90s into the early 2000s, and then they kind of petered out more or less. They're still being made, but in very small numbers. But you had a couple different coach companies that made these, and Starcraft was one of your top tier guys. They made really good kit. So by and large, considering how old this thing is, it's not in bad shape. So we got some paint marks. It was sitting for a while. The passenger mirror is busted. That needs to be replaced. This happened actually in transport. When we loaded it up on the trailer, had some miscommunication, led to that happening. All in all, the outside is in pretty good shape. The only thing of real concern that I have is we have the beginnings of some rust on the strip rail. It's not bad. It's still in really good shape. That's something I could take to a shop. They could solve that real quick. Oh, cool. Has the antenna on it. It's busted, but it has it. Neat. I suspect somebody repainted this. I really, really do. I say that because when you take a look at the color codes here, you see that champagne has been stamped. I never knew champagne to be green. So, yeah, I gotta dig into that. Not sure what happened there. You'll see the window is down and the door card's off. That is because my camera would focus. Thank you. The window motor's bad. They claimed, the previous owner claimed it. I verified it. I checked power coming off the switch. When you hit the switch, you get 12 volts to the window motor. Nothing happens. And unfortunately, all I could find was the complete motor and regulator kit. And this is going to get a little spicy. You got to drill rivets out, a couple other things. I will make a video on it. I actually need to get around to it sooner rather than later. It is going to rain again eventually. But let's take a look inside. So this is the doghouse. I don't have it fully off, but you take that off. That gives you access to the back of the engine. You'll see that since this is a Starcraft conversion, all leather. Driver, I think, gets power seats. Passenger gets manual. We have wood trim. This is a pretty stock Ford radio. We have a front and rear AC. Power point. You get lights on your sun visor. You get that both sides. The headliner was improved. It's just soft felt. You get a bunch of controls to turn on various kinds of lights in the back. You'll notice there's a TV VCP. The TV, if it were installed, goes here on the ground between the front driver and passenger. That's actually the power for the TV and the VCP. And the VCP is it's a VCR that runs on 12 volts, basically. You see that with some conversion vans. I don't have it. I will eventually track it down you can see, we've got this beautiful wood inlay here in the top. There are basically like Christmas tree lights, old school Christmas tree lights that run through that and can be turned on. The key has to be in accessory position for it, but they will turn on. You've got our mid-row. Again, really nice leather seats. Almost perfect condition. A couple of stains here and there. You've got, here's your side door. The cables are not working, I believe, so I'm going to need to open it up, actuate it manually to open it. I'm going to have to work on replacing that assembly, get the card off, check it out. We still have the original curtains, which I think is super cool. The some of this, I guess, felt, styrofoam felt, they use is a little sun cooked. You got pop-out mirror windows. You actually have to squeeze this to make it work. It's the first time I've seen that. You gotta squeeze it to get it to see it again. Let's see what else we have going on. We got tilt on our middle row. And then this is probably the piece de resistance. You have the fold down bed. So if you, with a push of a button, this will convert back to a bench. And you can seat 7. But in this configuration, you get 4 passengers. You get a decent sized bed. I mean, an adult would need to lay diagonally across it, but it'd work. We have 2 rows of vents here, here, there, and there, and those are for your rear AC. Then we have speakers that are for the TV if you get one installed, which again, like, I'm going to work on that. And it's kind of neat. You have a switch here that if you want everybody to hear the TV in the back, you hit the switch, it works. You can listen in. If you just want to privately listen to the TV in the back, you just plug in your headphone jack and you can listen. And then this is the rear radio. Rear radio, you say? Yeah, that guy up there. And it's not just a radio, it's a cassette player. So, very cool stuff. There's some more features. You can't see them right now because the bed's deployed. Let's see if I can fix that. So over here on the sides, you've got, you got your ashtray. You got accessory port for power, cup holder. Let's see. Here's our switch. Let's see what happens when we hit it. It says no, thank you, because the engine is not running. So that's actually normal. It's not that the battery's weak. If you dig into the literature for these conversion vans that had the motorized beds, the engine's supposed to be running when you flip it. It needs that extra voltage. You can pull it up by hand if somebody's hitting that switch and you're helping to lift it, so the motor's not working as hard. But I can't turn the engine on. We'll get into that in a minute. Got like a little magazine rack for your books or whatnot. These pockets, they're stretched out, but we can fix that. Again, I wish I could show it to you, but I think this is like a tissue box holder. You would put a tissue box in there, and then you'd have tissues in the back. Ashtray, cup holder, running lights. And then we're going to go down below and under, because there is, and I don't know if we'll be able to see it, there's something right there. I don't know what it is. I need to investigate it, and I'm not going to be able to do that yet because the back door also, those cables are stretched out, busted, whatever, so the trunk door doesn't open either. I got to dig into that. But we do have over here, and again, I apologize for the lighting. Don't have enough hands to move things around. We have our Sony 10 CD disc changer. Goes up front. And then over here, if you look at the actual mountings here, this is for your middle row. I think this actually swivels. I believe if you Well, that's for the headrest there, but I think there's a control. I want to say maybe this one. Yeah. If you pull it, it'll let you swivel the chair. So if you're not going anywhere and you're just sitting and chilling, you can turn the chair and talk to your buddies, or you can turn it towards the folks in the back bench, do stuff. But you're not supposed to have it swiveled when driving. The seat belts aren't configured for that. Speaking of, here they are. You notice you got a double buckle here. This is keyed, so it can only go into this one on the right, but it can be removed so that you can swivel the chair more freely. You get the same setup over here with the bed, as you can see. I'm trying to figure out what the other buckle is for. Maybe the van nerds out there can answer that one for me. I'm not sure. I haven't done a ton of research on it yet, but I'm not sure what it's for. In the back we have some lights, and then we've got a pull down. See if I can get it. There we go. There it goes. It's stiff, but we've got a pull down like clothing hanger, and there's one on each side. And we get towards the trunk. Got little cargo pockets there, and again there's some goodies that are probably underneath, but I can't get to them yet because I really need to open this door, and I'm not sure how to do it. I'll have to check this out a little further. I haven't opened it yet, but neat. So that's the inside. The inside of this thing is darn near immaculate for what it is. And as I said, it has 65,000 original miles. Fantastic. However, it has some engine problems. So the previous owner said, yeah, it'll crank, it'll run, but it doesn't like to stay running, he said. And he did indeed in front of me. He cranked it. The battery was flat. This is one of my batteries, but his battery is also charging. Looks like it's going to come back around, so life is good. He said, we jumped his battery off, and it did indeed, it ran. And it did indeed have a problem idling. It did not want to idle. But you could rev it, it'd be fine. You could put it in gear, it would move. It got on the trailer under its own power. So I thought, okay, maybe we just have an idle air control valve issue or something. So I get this thing home, I get my scanner, I take a look at it. I see lean code bank 1, lean code bank 2, which means there is something that is causing a massive lean condition on both sets of cylinders, driver and passenger. And when I looked at the fuel trims, they were pegged at 40%, so just as much fuel as the engine computer could give, it was doing, because it felt it was crazy lean. So maybe a vacuum leak somewhere we got to track down. Lean codes, not really scared of those. But it also had a cylinder overheat code. Let's see if I can pull those up. I think I left it in here. Yep, here we go. So we get that plugged in. And we need to get the key in. Okay. And let me close this door so it won't be super annoying. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, okay, so the codes were wiped because I swapped the battery. But it had a cylinder overheat protection activation code. So essentially, it detected that the cylinder heads were getting too hot, and what it would have done is heavily retarded the advance so that the engine was not making as much heat, is what it would have done, which would explain also why it might have been running lean and having the behaviors it was having. So, well, that's not good. We'll start investigating. So I started checking fluids. Checked the transmission, that was fine. Checked the power steering, that was fine. Checked the brakes, that was fine. Checked the coolant, it was low. Coolant didn't look super clean, but that's kind of common. People don't take care of the cooling systems. Fine, whatever. I put like 1.5 gallons in before I got it up where it needed to be. Okay, cool. Then I checked the oil, and it was milkshaked. And for those of you who have never heard about milkshake as far as oil goes, what that means is that water was in the oil, or more specifically, coolant was in the oil. So I said a bunch of words that I cannot repeat on camera. And so I said, all right, I need to drain the oil. I need to see how bad it is. So 11 quarts later, which for those of you playing along at home, the Triton 5.4, which powers this thing, has about a 6.5 quart sump. So it was about double full, twice as full as it should be. And this, I don't know how well the camera's picking it up. That's what came out. And for those playing along at home, engine oil is not supposed to look like that. There's a fair amount of coolant in that. So I'm going to try to save this engine, but it could very well be just gone. Because again, for those playing along at home, the reason why coolant in your oil is so bad is that coolant does not lubricate. Coolant does not keep wear from happening on mechanical parts that are moving around each other. Most critically on your main bearings on the crankshaft. Once those wear out and they're gone, you get rod knock. And once you get rod knock, that's it. The bottom half of the engine shot. It's got to be replaced. So I don't know how long this engine has left. It sounded fairly healthy when it was running before it did the whole stumble, idle, fail thing. When you crank it, the crank is even and the speed is good, meaning it's not fast, which would indicate low compression, not gallopy, which would indicate low compression, nor is it slow, which would indicate like a weak starter or something like that. It sounds like a good healthy crank. So I think I've got good compression across all 8. I think the head gaskets are okay. But the Triton 5.4, it was introduced in 1997, the actual year of this vehicle. So this is the first year that the E-150 got the Triton 5.4. And what they did is, in order to try to save some money, and forgive the sound of the charger here, it's doing its thing. Ford decided that for the upper and lower intake, it would try to save some money, and they made the lower intake out of plastic. So I don't know how well it's going to show up. There we go. So the upper is an aluminum, you see that, and then in the middle below, that's plastic. And then if you look right there, yeah, let me move my flashlight a little bit. It's there. You see that? See that kind of rusted metal bracket there next to the alternator, and you look beyond that, that's broken pieces of plastic laying under the lower intake. So I strongly suspect what has happened is that the lower intake has failed and it's allowing coolant to leak into oil. because when I drained the coolant, it looked okay. It looked like Ford OEM orange. And orange is what Ford used in '97 on their cooling systems. So, long story short, I have a metal replacement lower intake. I've got lots of oil to do flushing with. I have bought up a whole bunch of parts from a whole bunch of parts stores to essentially dig into this thing, locate the leak, mitigate the problem, and see what happens once I get good oil in it, and see what problems come up after I mitigate all the issues that I find. So yeah, welcome to the '97 E-150. It's a beautiful rig, and I want to save it. So the battle for the 5.4 begins. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this intro episode for my '97 E-150 Starcraft conversion van. If you liked what you saw here, if you learned something from it, please consider like, share, or subscribe this video or other videos on my channel. Helps them to grow, helps them to maybe monetize this channel so that I can bring more interesting content to you guys. And also, please leave a comment. I like to read them, I like to reply to them, and I do like to learn from them. And remember guys, I make the mistakes like buying vans and not checking the fluids on site, so you don't have to. I'll see you guys next time.